In this movie, we're going to examine the application's search function. This allows the employee, at the customer's request, to search for a particular title by different criteria and see if they can find any number of titles that match these particular criteria. The element of the application is search.php, and the different functionalities that this carries out are searching for a movie and a simple list of genres. This is important for us to create a drop-down menu for the form in which the employee enters the data, which will act as criteria for the search. To begin with, the search for a movie is a rather complex piece of SQL with a whole lot of different parameters. This is a slightly imposing query, to say the least, runs onto several lines. So let's break it down a little and we'll see how each part works. It's quite unlikely that a customer is going to ask to search on every single possible criteria within our search function. It's more likely that they're going to ask for one or two particular elements within our search function. So let's strip away the different parts and we'll see what different queries will be generated on the fly by our PHP script. If the customer asks to search by title, then the SQL query will search on the films table and the copies table. It will link the films table to the copies table by the film column in the copies table and by the ID column in the films table. The search criteria will be the string variable which stands for the particular part of the title that the customer has requested. So we're able to search for partial titles here. We could also search by genre. This is actually showing a search for title and genre, but we could remove this line here and it would be a pure genre search. Here is another subsection of the query which shows that we're searching here on the films table, the copies table, the artists table, and the bridging film artists table. The connections are made here, once again between the films table and the copies table, between the artist and the film artist table, and between the films and film artist tables. The search criteria is that a certain artist is included within the artist that worked on the film. Separated by OR operators, we could put in several of these specific criteria for searching. We could also simply search by year released. This time we're going to search only on the two tables, films and copies. All the information is contained within the films table, and in this case we have int var1 and int var2. Int var1 in this case represents the approximate time in which the film was released, and int var2 represents the ability to search within a number of years around that. So if we want to be really specific and say 1970, we could specify 1 or 0 for int var2. If we wanted to specify the 5 years around 1970, we could say 5 for int_var2. Here we can see a search for artist, year, and genre, but we're not searching by title. So this allows the customer to provide as much information as they can remember about the film, and then even if the employee themselves can't remember it, they can type into the system, and the system will return any queries, any results that match their particular query. Once again, here is all of the different possible search options in their entirety. Once it's been broken down, this select query is not quite as imposing as it first looks. However, it's very unlikely that if they know the title, they're going to need to search for all of these other things, so it's unlikely that we're going to get a search by everything appearing in the application. The other select query is simply to list the genres for a drop-down menu, and this is a very simple one indeed. We're simply selecting the ID and the name from the genres table. Now let's take a look at our application, and we'll see how this search function works. As you can see, it's simply another HTML form. Once again, we can type in title war. Let's say we think it was published in 1976, but we can't be sure. So let's give it 3 years leeway, and we'll see if we can find a video on this basis. We found the Star Wars video, and that is unfortunately out at the moment, and that's out to customer number 2. It also gives the due date when it's back, so we can tell the customer who's asking about the Star Wars video when we're expecting it back. We also have the customer's details here, so in case it's late, we can chase that customer on the spot, perhaps give them a ring. In this case, the video is not late. It's the video that we rented out just a moment ago to the customer in our check-in out movie in this chapter. Once again, please feel free to examine the source for this particular function of the application.